wasn't given due process. My kids are now told that they've been adopted, and I'm trying to fight my hardest to get them back.
I'm with Aaron Carranza, my co-host, and we're taking your calls, listening to your stories, and trying to answer your questions. Aaron, you ready to take another call?
I am. We have Tanya from Texas. Tanya, do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Tanya. I don't know if you said Tanya or not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, no problem. Okay, I'm just responding to an email I got. It said something about calling in, and you'll help me get my kids now.
Did you have?
So I have questions, and I have and my case has been ongoing since 2016. Wasn't given due process. My kids are now told that they've been adopted, and I'm trying to fight my hardest to get them back. It's very expensive, and lawyers don't want to take your cases at all. Texas is, I feel like the worst. They're very racist out here. And question I have is that I was told that it's not too early to try to sue CPS as far as like filing a federal lawsuit against CPS. I don't know how true that is or not.
I didn't hear what you said. You said you've heard what?
That it's lawful. Like I have a right to sue them, file a federal lawsuit to file CPS for a violation of my disability.
Yeah, you can.
There's a Disability Act.
You can file a lawsuit against CPS, a federal lawsuit, in your local district court, federal court.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was correct or not. I was always told that it was best for your children to come home first before, if it goes, it can appear negative towards you getting your kids if you try to file before you're actually awarding your children back.
Well, generally, if you are a person that doesn't have your child back in your custody, that's kind of a fact that is used against you. Although I have seen cases where, and I'm thinking of one case in particular, where the mother never got the child back. The child was placed with the father and the case was closed. And she and her attorney brought a lawsuit. It was a big lawsuit. And they actually, they won. And she,
okay.
She didn't get her child back. But she still
How long of a time frame is that? Is it just a long, drawn-out process?
Kind of. This case was in California, right? But it was in the California State Court, and I think they did have federal claims, but the defendants in the case left the case in state court, and I think it took several years. But one of the things I want to stress, especially in if the case were in California, when you sue CPS, you're suing for money. All right.
Right.
That's you can't get the child back, or generally you can't get the child back in a lawsuit. You have to do that in the juvenile court, or if you lose in the juvenile court, you have to appeal it and try to get the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court, to agree with you that you should have your children back. So don't think if you sue the social worker that if you win in federal court, you're going to automatically get your child back, because that's not true.
This is basically just showing for damages.
Correct.
Like emotional, damages or...
Right, financial damages for basically, the violation of your civil rights.
Yes.
But in that case that I just told you about, the lady won, the mother won. She proved to the jury, and they gave her several millions of dollars. But she still didn't get her child back.
Oh, wow.
right? So a lot of people think that's kind of crazy, right? You proved that the social
Yeah.
worker violated your rights. Why don't you get your child back? Because the question of you getting the child back is an issue for the juvenile court, or in her case, because the case was closed and it went to family court, it's an issue for the family court. It's not an issue for the
Okay.
judge and the jury in your civil rights cases. And
Okay.
I talk to people all the time that think, oh, I can sue CPS for a violation of my civil rights, and if I win, I'll get my child back. And that's not true. If you win,
Okay.
you can get money, but you know you can end up like the mother that I'm thinking about. She won, but she didn't get her child back,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. I have another question. Because I'm in Texas and I want to relocate from Texas. Is that a good thing to do? I'm trying to, because I would always come back, if I leave or relocate to another state regarding, the case and trying to get my kids back.
Right. I can't comment on whether it's a good thing for you in terms of family, job, opportunities, stuff like that. But if you're going to sue CPS in your state, it's going to be difficult for you to come back and forth, I would think, to come back to prosecute your lawsuit. Because you have to, it's COVID now, and I appeared in a federal case on, I think it was Friday, and we did
Uh-huh.
everything. Did everything by Zoom, right? But
Yeah.
COVID's going to end. Well, hopefully, COVID's going to end one day, and people are going to have to go back to court, right? So if you move out of state,
Right.
you're going to be traveling back and forth for your court appearances.
Right.
There was one other thing I wanted to tell you. Generally, I don't know what the law is in Texas, but in California, if you have lost your parental rights and the children have been adopted, it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to get them back. All right. I don't want to say it's impossible. There are some things that could happen or that you could do that you might prevail. But the probabilities are against you, Tanya. Against you.
I mean, I heard that before, but
It's your
I
children,
gotta
right?
stay positive about it because there was a little much fraud in my case. It's ridiculous. And I was told my kids were adopted out during my due process. I was still in my appeals process, and I was told my kids were adopted like 2 months later.
Yeah. Well,
Like really.
keep looking.
So there's a lot of things that they did in my case, and which was to me unlawful, and they
Right.
got away with it. So I'm doing my best I can do to try to prove that, and keep
Right.
my fingers crossed to get it overturned.
Earlier today I was meeting with a client and we were going over her case, and we both suddenly realized that there was a letter submitted, I think, to the judge, to the court, that was purportedly written by my client, and
Huh?
it turns out it wasn't written by my client.
Oh wow.
She denied it, and I said, "Well, look, we have to get a handwriting expert." We got a guy that's a retired FBI agent, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to see if he tells me no, that's not your client's handwriting, from 3 years ago, and and here's some exemplars, and here's the reason why. I mean, if he says that it's not her handwriting, can you imagine? Somebody submitted some type of false evidence that was actually
Yeah.
used for her to lose the child. So
Right. Yeah.
when people say, "Hey, I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep fighting," you should. I mean, it's your children, right? Nobody else is gonna
Right.
fight for them. You're the only person.
2 minutes.
So
Right. Yeah.
don't give up, Tanya. Keep digging. Keep looking. You never know what you're gonna discover in these cases.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely a fighter. I don't give up at all. I have a question about affidavits. Are they good to submit, or is there? I'm hearing mixed messages about they are good and they're not good.
Well, here in California, we call them, well, sometimes affidavits, but declarations under penalty of perjury. And I don't know what the law is in Texas, but in California, they're not necessarily admissible into evidence because technically it's hearsay. It's not a court statement. used in
Mm-hmm.
court for the truth of the matter therein. So, it depends on what your state's hearsay rules are. I've been involved in some
Mm-hmm.
proceedings where, the judge wants to proceed by way of affidavit on a hearing or a trial, right? And that's very rare, but
Okay.
One minute.
I don't know. You'd have to talk to your attorney or an attorney in Texas. And look, Texas is a big state. I've not talked to, but I've corresponded with several CPS attorneys in that state. So there's a lot of guys and gals that are doing this. You need to find them. Go to cpsrolodex.com. Hopefully they're registering and they can help you in your state. Hey, Tanya, I got to take a break. My engineer is saying we got to take the top of the hour break. I want to thank you for calling and thank you for listening. And if in 3 or 4 weeks, please give us a call. Give us an update on what's going on. All right, this is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. We'll be back after these messages and the news.